Kia ora, haere mai. I'm Tux Fu. Welcome to my series on taking back control of your computing, your freedom and privacy on the internet and in computing in general. So today we're going to discuss decentralized video streaming services. So there are a lot of platforms and services that claim to offer decentralized video streaming, such as PeerTube, LBRY, BitChute, and DTube. Now, I'm only really going to discuss PeerTube and LBRY because I don't know much about the other two. I know BitChute's proprietary, and I'm not sure about DTube. I think it's open source. PeerTube and LBRY are open source. So in today's world, a lot of people on these centralized platforms like YouTube are getting deplatformed whenever a politician, an advertiser, or an angry mob gets angry. They just get deplatformed. And some of these creators actually make their living off YouTube. And all of a sudden, they're getting defranchised. It's horrible. So I'm going to talk about two alternatives that they could use. So I have a bias because I really like LBRY. I think it's more secure, is more robust and unable for people with power to take it down, more resilient against that sort of thing. Now, companies like YouTube deplatform people in various ways. Sometimes it's a straight out ban, and other times it's demonetization. The video gets flagged and there's some algorithm, or maybe they just said some trigger word, that triggers something in the algorithm. Like the algorithm doesn't care in which context you use a word. So it will just think, oh, that's a trigger word. Like you could be watching a documentary on like the Middle Ages or something, in which a bundle of sticks is called a faggot. And well, you say that on YouTube, doesn't matter which context you set it in. Your video gets flagged, demonetized, and well, now you're not going to make any money on that video. Maybe you'll even get banned. So it's really weird like that. And they're really pushing the big corporate old school media now. Like YouTube used to be the place you'd go to get away from them. And then the big corporate media realized, hey, everyone's going over there, and then they started coming along and they're like, hey, people are still watching the other videos. Of course, they've still got this old money, right? So they managed to somehow manipulate YouTube into pushing their videos. And like in the past, I've tried doing things like blocking their channels, the ones that I don't like. And so the videos still appear on the trending page. Like I can't get rid of them. It's annoying. Anyways, let's talk about PeerTube and LBRY. Enough ranting. I don't like being negative. I like being positive and doing something about it instead of complaining, right? That's why I'm here on LBRY. Okay, so let's talk about LBRY. So LBRY's everything on LBRY is completely open source. That includes, there's a LBRY app that's open source, the Android app's open source, LBRY.tv is open source. It's all open source. Now LBRY uses blockchain technology and peer-to-peer technology, so it has its own crypto built in. Now LBRY is not just for video streaming. You can put any type of content on here that you can put in a file. Do you make games? You can put it on here. Do you take photos? Do you write ebooks? You can put that on here. So, you can support creators by sending them a tip. You can, so if you see here, there's a tip button. If I like this, I can say, okay, send 10 LBC. That's a cool photo. Creators can also charge for content if they want to in the form of LBC. So they can say this If you want to download this game, it'll cost you 100 LBC. Okay, so the trending on LBRY is also determined by the users, and of course it's open source, so the algorithms can be audited by anyone with the correct skills to be able to understand it. So if I find a video I liked and I wanted to help get it on trending, I could go to the video and hit the support. Now creators can actually support their own videos, so if they have lots of LBC, they can get their own video on trending if they wanted to. So at the moment on the trending page, if you go to all content, a lot of that content is actually from crypto people, because obviously people who are interested in cryptocurrency are interested in the technology behind LBRY. And LBRY is still in its early days, so of course that's going to end up happening. So I can put a 20 LBC support on this video, and if lots of other users do the same thing, this will end up high up on the trending page. So supports are not like tips. You can get your supports back. So this support that I put on that video will help get it into trending on the next cycle. So after the next trending cycle is completed, every trending cycle is about 6 hours. So let's say tomorrow I can come back and I can abandon the support and get my 20 LBC back. So tips you get on your own content, it pays just to keep them on until you need the LBC, because they also help with the trending. I'm not sure how top works. I think top works based on views and trending works based on supports and tips. I could be wrong on the top thing. So the best way for you to find content that you'd want to watch is you'd go to your tags and you'd just put in things you're interested in here. That way only things you're interested in will show up here. So I can change it from trending, or just show me new videos, top videos, and I can change it from this week, this month, this year. So the most popular videos this year will show up here. Okay, so as I mentioned, LBRY uses blockchain technology. Now, the blockchain on LBRY, its job is not only to keep records and verify the transactions of LBC. A blockchain is essentially a database. So the blockchain is actually storing information about the content on LBRY, and the content's metadata. So it'll have where's the thumbnail, it'll have a description stored in it, it'll have the title, the blockchain also stores information about channels, and it stores information on how to download the video. The content itself is not stored in the blockchain, just how to get it. So LBRY uses PeerToPeer, it uses a technology based on BitTorrent. So people who have the LBRY app are helping host the content on LBRY. If you watch a video on LBRY, that video will get downloaded to your computer, and as long as you have the app running, you'll be helping host the content by default. You can turn it off if you want. And if you watch via the LBRY.tv in your browser, I don't think you're helping host the content. Now, LBRY Incorporated is also helps host the content. They've got their own seed box, so when you publish to LBRY, they'll help you seed your content. Because LBRY uses blockchain technology, content cannot be removed from it. It cannot be deleted. Now, LBRY Incorporated can remove it from the app and LBRY.tv, and they can stop hosting the file. They can stop seeding it, but they cannot remove it completely. So anyone can fork LBRY.tv and create their own LBRY.tv, or you could just change the wallet server to access the removed content in the app. So nothing can truly be removed. As long as people have watched that video and they're seeding it, that it'll be there forever. It's quite useful to be able to fork the app. So let's say someone wanted to create a library app for children, which only shows curated content and hides all the advanced features and is easy to use for children. You can do so. It's open source. Another great thing about the technology behind LBRY is if LBRY Incorporated somehow got shut down, the LBRY app will still work. It uses blockchain technology. You'll still be able to open up the app and access all the content and even publish new content. And anyone will be able to fork LBRY.tv and just start it back up again. So LBRY is still in its very early days. It's got some things that it can improve on, such as the UI and things like commenting. It only has very basic commenting at the moment. So when someone comments, I don't get a notification. So I have to regularly check back on my videos to see if someone left a comment and then reply to it. And if the person who commented on your video is expecting a reply, they also have to regularly check back. It would be cool if there was something built into the app which will give you a notification when you start up the app, or when your computer's on, it'll just pop up and say, you have a new message on this video. That's not such a big deal for me because I've only got at the moment like 10 or 11 videos. But for someone who might have 500 videos, that could be a problem. But that's probably something they'll fix in the future. Another thing that needs to improve is the ability to be able to cash out your LBC. Only those who are familiar with cryptocurrencies at the moment are able to easily cash out their LBC. So they need to make that process a bit easier. I know there's a lot of governments around the world have made things complicated for cryptocurrencies, but if they can find a way that you could easily say, yeah, just here's my LBC, give me whatever it's worth in New Zealand dollars, please, and put it into my bank account. If they can make that process easy, that'll be... But I think that's in the works. It's just I think they have to get a lot of lawyers involved to make sure what they're doing is legal. As well as an easier way to cash out your LBC, there should be an easier way to buy it. Let's say Twitch, for an example. They've got this thing called, I think they're called bits. So if you go to Twitch, then you can buy some bits and you can give them to your favorite streamers. Now, if there was an easy way for people to buy LBC in the same manner, so that they can give it to their favorite content creators on LBRY, that would be pretty cool as well. Now, at the moment, if you're not a content creator, there's several ways you could earn some LBC. There are rewards for certain things. Now, you can earn rewards just by watching content, and also, I think the first 10 pieces of content you watch every day will get an automatic tip, which comes from a pool from LBRY Incorporated. So as long as you're signed in and your account's verified, you'll be automatically supporting creators that way. Another way you could earn LBC, and I've earned some this way, is if you know a little bit of programming. You don't have to be an expert programmer. If you know a teeny bit of JavaScript, if you know a teeny bit of CSS, and you see a bug, and you think, oh, I can fix that. I know how to fix that. You can fix that and put a pull request into GitHub, and they'll send you some LBC. I fixed one. So in the LBRY app, when the video is full screen, the cursor was still showing. And I thought, that's simple to fix. That's just some CSS. So I put up a pull request and they sent some LBC my way. Now, if you're already a creator on YouTube and you care about your freedom, then you should consider syncing your channel to LBRY. Now, they've got a way of automating the sync so that when you upload content, it'll also get synced up to LBRY. Now, as of recording this video, the sync process takes a long time. It can sometimes take like 2 days for your video to show up on LBRY, but it's sort of a set and forget type thing, and they're working on improving the sync times. Now, I don't use the sync tool. I do it manually because I like them to be both there at the same time, and I prefer LBRY to YouTube. So eventually I'll stop putting stuff on YouTube. I started my YouTube channel and my LBRY channel at the same time, and on YouTube I've got like 3 or 4 subscribers, and on LBRY I've got over 300, and I'm doing really well on LBRY in a very short amount of time. But they do have rewards for syncing your channel based on the amount of subscribers you have on YouTube. You'll be rewarded some LBC. So if you want to be earning some LBC, you could sync your channel across. Now I recommend you do your own research on LBRY and decide for yourself whether you want to do it. But if you care about your freedom, then it's a pretty obvious choice. So I'll post a link to this in the description. So I mentioned PeerTube on my video about the Fediverse, but I didn't really discuss it much. So PeerTube's part of the Fediverse. It uses the Federated Activity Pub protocol. It's all open source. And so a federated protocol allows multiple servers to communicate with each other. So if you're on one PeerTube instance, on that instance you should be able to find videos on all the PeerTube instances from that one instance, and also follow people from other PeerTube instances from whichever instance you're signed up on. Additionally, the advantage of it being part of the Fediverse is if you're on Mastodon, you can just follow someone on PeerTube and their videos will show up in your Mastodon feed, which is actually a pretty cool feature. So let's try to find an instance so we can just have a look at PeerTube. Okay, so it looks like someone's pirated some stuff and put it on here. That's not a good start. So if I click on this, I'm not going to let the audio play. But PeerTube uses peer-to-peer, hence the peer in PeerTube. But by default, the peer-to-peer only works while you're watching the video. So multiple people have to be watching the video at the same time for the peer-to-peer to work by default, which is not ideal. And another limitation of PeerTube is most instances have pretty severe limitations on the file size that you can upload and the length of the video, because hosting is expensive. So PeerTube uses actual BitTorrent, but by default it's only active when multiple people are watching the exact same video at the exact same time. The flaw in this is if the server's overloaded, all the unpopular videos will buffer and be unwatchable. Now, of course, a creator could set up their own seed box with all their own content on it, because every PeerTube instance has its own tracker because it uses actual BitTorrent. And of course, users can support their favorite creators by also setting up their own seed box and making sure that all their favorite creators' videos are well seeded so that there's no buffering. The problem with this is that a lot of creators don't have the technical knowledge of how to set up their own seed box. Of course, this gets expensive because videos are pretty large in their file size, and not much people are going to have like 10 terabyte hard drives. Now, the trending on PeerTube instances will depend completely on how the server admins want it to work. So it can be manipulated by, if the server admins have some sort of agenda, they can manipulate the trending page. Another flaw in this is that if a node goes down, the tracker will be gone and all those videos will be gone and you'll no longer be able to access them, which is a pretty severe flaw, because it's pretty likely that instances will go down because they're expensive to maintain And it's a central point. If someone does not like the content on there, they could go after that instance and get it shut down and make sure that no one, and then if you move your stuff to another instance, they can go after that instance too. So I think the Fediverse approach for video streaming is not viable. It's great for social networking and sharing pictures and stuff, because you can easily back up your Mastodon account. It's not going to be that big, but if you've got lots of videos on a PeerTube account, backing that up's not really viable, because that's going to be a pretty big download. Anyways, I don't have much else to say about PeerTube because I have not used it that much. As I stated at the beginning of this video, I do have a bias towards LBRY, but I do wish PeerTube the best of luck. I wish all open source projects actually the best of luck. So that was my video about decentralized video streaming platforms. Obviously it was just mostly about LBRY because that's what I use. I haven't really used PeerTube much. I mean, I tried it out for watching videos for a while, and you know, I didn't really like it. I like the idea of decentralized video streaming, but the implementation of PeerTube was a bit meh. But LBRY I think can succeed, and I think people should start using it. I know it has its flaws, but these things take time. All good things take time. And by using the platform and showing your support, it will give the devs and contributors motivation to help improve it. Anyways, that was it. So thanks for watching. I'll see you later.